Hello, my pre-K friends. This is Miss Melton again, and I am so excited to be back to read Matthew and Tilly. Now, the author, the person who wrote this story, is Rebecca C. Jones, and the illustrator, the person who drew the pictures, is Beth Peck. This is Matthew, this is Tilly, and they are best friends. But one day they had an argument. I am wondering, how did they feel after they had a disagreement? Let's read and find out. Matthew and Tilly were friends. I noticed Matthew and Tilly are walking down the street sharing an umbrella. They must enjoy sharing things. They rode bikes together and they played hide and seek together. I am thinking Matthew and Tilly really enjoy spending time with each other because they do a lot of activities together. They sold lemonade together. When business was slow, they played sidewalk games together. I notice how well Matthew and Tilly are playing together. It looks like they are having fun and encouraging each other. Matthew is probably saying, "Okay, Tilly, you're doing great hopping on your left foot. Wow, this is a great hopscotch game you have drawn today. I'm having so much fun." Tilly is saying, "I can do it. Matthew, look. I turned around without putting my right foot down. Playing together is the best." I am thinking they always say things to make the other one feel so proud. And sometimes they ate ice cream cones together. Once they even rescued a lady's kitten from a tree together. I am thinking because Matthew and Tilly are best friends, it wasn't difficult for them to come up with a plan to rescue the kitten. I bet they enjoy being together when helping others. The lady gave them money for the bubblegum machines. I am thinking the lady gave them money because she was very pleased that they rescued her kitten. So later they chewed the gum together and remembered how brave they had been. I noticed that Matthew and Tilly are thinking about how they rescued the kitten. They care about each other and like remembering special times. Tilly is probably saying, "Remember when the kitten was stuck in a tree and I held the ladder for you?" Matthew is saying, "Yes, and how I climbed the ladder. Wow, we were both so brave. That was a tall tree, but because you helped me, we were able to get the kitten from the tree safely." Sometimes, though, Matthew and Tilly got sick of each other. They would bother each other. They would even get tired of being around one another. One day, when they were coloring, Matthew wrote Tilly's purple crayon. He didn't mean to, but he did. Looking at the picture, it looks like they are having fun coloring. But after that crayon broke, everything changed. Let's read more. "You broke my crayon," Tilly said in her crabbiest voice. "It was an old crayon," Matthew said in his grouchiest voice. "It was ready to break." "No, it wasn't," Tilly said. "It was a brand new crayon and you broke it. You always break everything." "Stop being so picky." "Being very hard to please," Matthew said. "You're always so picky and stinky and mean." "Well, you're so silly," Tilly said. "You are so silly and stinky and mean." Oh, wow. Matthew and Tilly are really upset with each other. They are saying some unkind words. Matthew stumped up the stairs by himself. I bet Matthew feels angry that Tilly was calling him names while they were having a disagreement. He's probably thinking he'd rather play by himself. I am thinking he is saying, "I never want to play with Tilly again. She is not a nice person. Tilly said some really mean words to me, and I don't need her as a friend." Tilly found a piece of chalk and began drawing numbers and squares on the sidewalk by herself. Tilly is upset that Matthew broke her crayon. Both of them were upset, and now she's playing by herself. I am wondering if she's enjoying this game without her best friend. Upstairs, Matthew got out his cash register and some cans so he could play store. He piled the cans extra high and he put prices on everything. This was his best store he had ever made, probably because that picky and stinky and mean old Tilly wasn't around to mess it up. But he didn't have a customer, and playing store wasn't much fun without a customer. I am thinking that he may be missing Tilly. He has made the best store ever, and she's not there pretending to be one of his customers. Matthew looks so lonely. He is really missing his best friend. Tilly finished drawing the numbers and squares. She drew them really big, with lots of squiggly lines. This was her best sidewalk game she had ever drawn, probably because that silly and stinky and mean old Matthew wasn't around to mess it up. But she didn't have anyone to play with, and a sidewalk game wasn't much fun without another player. I think Tilly looks lonely too. She just made this fantastic game, but she doesn't have her best friend to play with her. I wonder what she's going to do without Matthew. Matthew looked out the window and wondered. He was thinking about what Tilly was doing. Tilly looked up at Matthew's window and wondered what he was doing. She smiled just a little. That was enough for Matthew. "I'm sorry," he called. "So am I," said Tilly. Matthew and Tilly apologized to one another. I'm thinking that they are excited to play together again. And Matthew ran downstairs so they could play. I am thinking Matthew and Tilly were so excited to see each other that they couldn't wait to do things together again. Together again. This is the end of the second read of Matthew and Tilly. I am curious to know, how did Matthew and Tilly feel when they had a disagreement? I want you to think about that question and share your answer with your friends and teacher. Bye.